Hello and welcome back to the Be Free podcast. I am so excited to be back and just feeling really, really pleased that I feel like I am a channel again, that I have all these things coming through me that I want to share with you. And today's podcast I wrote about, I was going to do it a few weeks ago. And then I had a cold and then I had a cough and then that kind of played on for a bit. So it wasn't really ideal podcasting time. So today, rainy day outside, I think I'm going to sit down and record this podcast for you today and just get back on the podcasting wagon. I have a lovely guest I'm interviewing on Friday for the podcast who is a singer, and she uses her music and has used her music to support her in overcoming PTSD, which I think is such a beautiful form of healing and support for others as well. So I'm really excited to speak to her. I have another female health expert that I'm interviewing the following week. So I have some lovely guests lined up for you, and also so much coming through me that I want to share. And this is such a great way to do it. So if you're watching on YouTube, hello, give me a little comment. And if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes or your chosen podcast, person, place, whatever, give us a little rate and review there as well. That would be amazing. So today I wanted to chat with you about fear. And this was kind of on the back of me traveling overseas and on the back of a year or two where my body has really been consumed with fear. And I just wanted to chat into that, speak about some of the things that have supported me, some things that might support you, and just to give you a little bit of an understanding that we don't have to live that way, to live with fear. So I have not long been on the most incredible trip of a lifetime to Mauritius with my family. And during this time and in the build up to going, I experienced fear in the build up to going away, and then absolute terror in the process of going through the airport and getting on the plane. And it just made me realize how far I've come, right? Because it reminded me of years ago, how awful it had been to be consumed with fear and anxiety and intrusive thoughts. But in the process of coming up to flying, I experienced really, really bad anxiety around flying. I was terrified that it would trigger my balance and my vertigo. And just, over the course of the past 2 years, I've experienced such fear with driving. I was experiencing panic attacks daily, trying to drive my daughter to school, experienced a number of traumatic events that really triggered a fear response in me. And the maladaptation of my brain with this whole kind of balance, this triple PD that I've been experiencing, this balance condition, really caused such a huge amount of fear for me. And I mean fear doing like really simple everyday tasks, like walking the dog, going out to see my horses, emptying the bin, like just riding my horse, obviously driving. And this constant living in fear causes your body to release cortisol, to release adrenaline, which then leads on to burnout and fatigue. So it's really important that we do tackle fear, tackle anxiety, so we're not living in this consistent state of adrenal burnout. right? And constantly living in fight or flight. So we need to really begin to regulate our nervous system so that our body can support ourselves. Because when we're in those states, our immune system's compromised. It can lead to a whole host of different health conditions. At one point, I had high blood pressure, which really, obviously, as a meditation teacher, someone who practices yoga every day, doesn't drink alcohol, doesn't smoke, eats a good diet. Like the doctors were like, okay, don't really know what more you can do. Go for a walk. Obviously, the balance thing, going for walks, not not great. So short of medication, they were kind of at a bit of a loss, but it was because I was constantly putting myself into panic and fear and tackling fear in a way that wasn't really sustainable and wasn't nourishing for my body, right? And that's what I want to speak about today. So, we often hear feel the fear and do it anyway, push through it, challenge yourself, dive right in. But without the regulation in between, you begin to lose the resilience, you begin to lose the bounce back. So, I was getting to the point when I was driving that adrenaline in my body was so strong that I was just, physically shaking. I couldn't see. I had a dry mouth. I couldn't breathe. It was just awful. And without regulating that, the cortisol and the stress hormones and everything's got nowhere to go because you're just adding and adding and adding and adding. So feel the fear and do it anyway, just idea is maybe okay in some instances, but you cannot use that as a consistent tool to overcome fear and anxiety. You really need to regulate your nervous system. And that's kind of one of the main things that I would kind of take away from the situation. So, firstly, if you are experiencing fear and anxiety, I want you to recognize that it's trying to protect you. It's not there to harm you. Although it feels like it can feel terrifying. And as I mentioned, the terror of going through the airport, getting on a plane for me was awful. And the intrusive thoughts that I was having as I was flying, and it was just pretty hideous, right? But it was there trying to protect me. It was like my nervous system and my whole body was like, no, no, no. And the same with the driving. It's there to try and protect me. But it's a response. It's like a bit like my brain with the balance. It's like a maladaptation. It's not a healthy response. It is a pure primal response. And we need to reprogram and rewire ourselves into a space of safety and into a space where we can rewire the body to recognize, okay, this response isn't like the correct one. Okay. So we need to really acknowledge the fear, acknowledge the anxiety that's showing up, and recognize, okay, this is happening for me. You can't try and ignore it. Okay. The body holds the score. So begin to tap into what's it teaching me, what's it trying to tell me, what's it trying to protect me from. Look at the areas where it's showing up. How is it showing up for you? Where is it showing up for you? And begin to connect with that and acknowledge it. Don't ignore it, right? We ignore it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I want you to do that. When these situations occur where you maybe are having an adrenal response or fear or anxiety or terror is filling your body, you need to discharge that. You need to discharge that by going for a walk, shaking, jumping up and down, just flicking that stress, that cortisol out of the body. If you can run, going for a run is a great idea just to clear it. But you need to acknowledge what has happened and not just, pull your big girl pants up and get on and do the next thing, right? Acknowledge what has occurred. What I would say is you really want to be reducing stress in all areas of your life. If you have something that fills you with fear and anxiety that you're trying to overcome, you need to reduce your nervous system stimulation in other areas. So look at things like making sure that you're getting enough sleep, like make sure that you're eating well, that you are getting support, that you are putting boundaries in place, that you can begin to lower your nervous system response and stimulation to things. Okay, so you want to reduce your stress so that when you add stress, it's like it's not such a big deal, and also that you're operating from a more calm state. What I would say is start small, start with small things and build up your confidence in yourself and in your capacity. So for me, say that's driving, just driving a shorter distance and then letting somebody else taking over. Don't let yourself get to the point of complete terror, right? So build up slowly. And it can also be building up your confidence in other unrelated ways. So for example, what kind of thing could I think of here? Walking a longer distance than normal for me, or just doing things that are really going to boost your confidence in yourself. So setting yourself small, achievable challenges so you can build up that confidence in yourself, and your capacity as a human, right? Like speak up for yourself more, or yeah, go do little things that challenge you differently. Try new foods, take a different route to work, like do things differently that are going to challenge you but that aren't going to put you into absolute fear and terror. Other things I'd put in there, yeah, like cold showers. So cold water therapy can be really, really helpful in supporting you and regulating your nervous system and putting you into that kind of primal shock response, but in a really safe way. So you want to like really reprogram yourself in a safe way. And that's one really big takeaway I've had from this triple PD process and diagnosis, is that building up resilience, building up tolerance to things is a really gradual process. And that's why I'm saying here often that feel the fear and just diving in and doing it anyway isn't the best response, because it could trigger further trauma in your body. So you want to build confidence in your body, you want to build confidence in yourself. And sometimes that doesn't come by just like diving in, right? So take it slow. Also, maybe take some steps back, get a bit of perspective. Don't kind of look at things when you're in that fight or flight response. So take yourself out of that fight or flight. Use things like meditation, gentle walks, time in nature, breath work, things that are going to help kind of guide you back into your body and out of fight or flight. And do that as often as possible so your body gets a chance to heal, a chance to rest, so that your natural state becomes more rest and digest than fight or flight. Yeah, I use things like essential oils, tapping, massage, Reiki, reflexology. Just gift your body as many opportunities for healing and rest and digest as possible. Exercising to release adrenaline, I've got here, making sure that your sleep is good. If I don't sleep well, especially during this perimenopausal time, it affects everything. It affects my anxiety, it affects my mood, it affects my capacity to take on new things. Magnesium is a great support as well. So supporting your body through stressful situations, helping the muscles relax, helping the nervous system relax. And then this is one, and I'm going to finish on this one. My number one top tip for if you are in fear, shitting your pants, nervous, anxious, is smile. Smile, smile, smile. I did this the other day driving, and just smiling as I was driving, speaking to myself, like, look at me go, I'm so good, I love my life, singing as well, obviously. So smiling can really, really help just trick the brain and pull yourself out of that fight or flight or that kind of intrusive thinking, and just guide you back. And I think the worst thing with fear, ironically, is feeding the fear. right? We can fear the fear, and that leads to a lot of anxiety. So, just try and allow yourself to be in that more relaxed space of calming your nervous system so that you can begin to see things more logically and tackle things from a really empathetic and compassionate place. So I hope that that supports you. Do feel free to reach out to me if any of that's resonated. I am wishing you all so much love. I will be back next week with another episode. I am sending you so much love. Any questions, anything you would like me to cover, anyone you would like me to interview, do reach out. I would love that. And I'll be back next week. Sending you so, so, so much love. Bye.